Sleeping on deck, the bivouac area on the top deck, the struggle to charge cell phones in the bowels of the ship. It will be tougher now for Carnival cruises to tell their story with these nightmare scenes appearing everywhere. We begin in Mobile tonight with NBC's Janet Shamley. And Janet, good evening.
Brian, good evening. Yeah, late this afternoon, the arrival time of the ship was revised yet again. Now, not until 10:30 or 11 o'clock Eastern at the earliest. And Carnival says after that, it's going to take some 4 to 5 hours to get people off the ship. So conceivably, this could be close to an all-nighter for thousands of people who are already exhausted. The crippled cruise ship Triumph limped towards Mobile, slower and later than expected, dragged along by 4 tugboats. Hours into the operation, a tow rope from one of the 4 tugs snapped. Another setback for exhausted passengers. For their waiting families, more frustration.
It's not a good scenario, but tell us the damn truth. For what you know, we haven't heard anything truthful yet, to my knowledge.
As the ship crept closer to port, passengers' desperation became visible. Signs made from bed sheets read SOS and Help Us. On board, Donna Gutzman told us there's much confusion.
Very little has been right on time or on point, so we're having a hard time putting our faith in what we're hearing.
Gutzman took these photos, showing the improvised tent city earlier this week, where passengers slept on the sun deck after the power went out. Soaked hallways and the plastic bags used in place of toilets.
There's sewer on the floors. We're peeing and pooping and in buckets and putting the bags outside our door.
Other photos showed passengers sleeping in hallways on lower decks and efforts to keep cell phones juiced on limited power. Gutzman says despite it all, passengers are keeping cool heads, no fights, people working together.
This is going to be a long day. This is not a process that's going to happen fast. There's no way we can actually speed up the process to get the ship alongside sooner.
Customs officials boarded the troubled ship to try to get the more than 4,000 passengers and crew processed before they arrive at port to expedite their departure. Carnival has chartered some 100 buses to take them to hotel rooms in New Orleans. As many as 1,500 are reserved. On Friday, some 20 charter flights will take everyone back to Houston. Joe Crouch and his friend didn't want to wait. They drove 8 hours from Texas to pick up their wives.
Enough lines already and been through enough that it would be a whole lot easier just to jump in the truck and drive 8 hours back home.
You say it's close to the harbor.
Fran Thompson waits too. He drove here from Kentucky on Valentine's Day to pick up his wife. He gave her the trip as a gift.
This was my wife's first cruise, and I guarantee it will be her last.
On board, there's only one working elevator, so passengers will have to carry off their own luggage. And there's a plan to get the elderly, children, and people with special needs off first.
You think?
There was a woman who had a stroke today on board. The Coast Guard was able to take her off. But for everyone else, this is going to be a long night and conceivably into the morning before the last person's off. Brian?
Hey, Janet, well, we now know they have rail service to that port. If I remember correctly, this port was built, Alabama was going to try to make a go of it as a destination port for ocean cruising. It hasn't been used like this for a long time, so aren't they trying to retrofit everything to take all this many people off?
In just a matter of hours. It hasn't been used for a year, and this will be the biggest ship ever to dock here. So they've got challenges, and right now they are still inside trying to get everything ready. They say that's as big of a job as docking the ship here tonight, Frank.
All right, Janet Shamley in Mobile has been on this story since the beginning. Janet, thanks. Now to another big